This is the video on classic democracy versus representative democracy in the political philosophy course. My name is Oscar Pérez de la Fuente. In the classic democracy, um, we have two main ideals, um, equality and participation. Classic democracy began in the polis of Athens in the ancient Greece. In that time, there was a egalitarian system of government in which all citizens are equal and they participate, they deliberate, they decide public affairs. The criticism of classical democracy is that it's based on a social unjust structure. This means that only citizens can vote, women are excluded, foreigners are excluded, slaves are excluded. Only the citizens of Athens could vote, could participate, could be equal. And you became a citizen of Athens if you are born in Athens or your one of your parents were born in Athens. Um, the representative democracy is the current system in most of our political systems and is based in the representation of the citizens in an organ who legislates or who takes decisions in different political systems. And in order to understand how works representative democracy, we have to remind Winston Churchill, a British Prime Minister, famous phrase which states that democracy is the less bad of the known political systems. In order to compare the classic democracy and the representative democracy, we are going to explain how two thinkers, two important thinkers, understand the concept of freedom, such as Isaiah Berlin and Benjamin Constant. According to Isaiah Berlin, there is a positive freedom and a negative freedom. Negative freedom is the freedom as no interference. This means that you are more free if the state doesn't interfere in your life. This is a usual and way to understand freedom. The positive freedom is a complex political ideal, and more or less each professor has its own understanding of this concept. Some people consider that it's the welfare state, other people consider that are the communist states, and could be summarized in the idea that positive freedom is the participation in self-government. Benjamin Constant is a previous author in the history of ideas and has the distinction between freedom of the ancients and freedom of the moderns. The freedom of the ancients is the political freedom, the freedom to participate in political affairs. And the freedom of the moderns is, according to Benjamin Constant, the freedom to develop business or develop different projects in the private sphere. Some authors consider that the freedom of the moderns has relationship with the negative freedom. The freedom of the moderns means that you develop your skills in your private sphere. And it's similar to this idea of negative freedom, the state as no interference. The classical question with Benjamin Constant is compatible the freedom of the ancients and the freedom of the moderns? And the answer, even for Constant, is yes. Could be compatible. The freedom of the ancients and the freedom of the moderns. This is the video on classic democracy and representative democracy on the political philosophy course in Carlos III University of Madrid.